Welcome back to the channel. I'm Trevor with Maker Experiment, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make your own custom stencils like these using Mylar material. Let's get into it. There are a lot of different ways to make stencils. I've made them out of MDF, I've made them out of cardboard, and today I'm going to be making them out of Mylar. So Mylar is the thin material that you normally see stencils made out of when you go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby or pretty much any craft store, or if you buy them online. Sometimes they'll be blue, sometimes they'll be this white color. It just depends. So this material was actually sent to me by Stencils online. They sent me two different thicknesses, a 7mm and a 10mm. So this first one is the 7mm, the second one is the 10mm. If I put them up side to side, you can actually kind of see through the 7mm one, not so much on the 10mm. So the difference is the thickness. So the 10mm is going to be a little bit thicker than the 7mm. It doesn't really matter which one you use if you're just using it for, say, drawing or things like that. If you're painting with spray paint or something like that, you may want to use a thicker one. Or if you just like them to be more durable, maybe the thicker one is the way to go. So I've used Mylar before, but for those of you that don't know, anytime that I work with a new material, I always make a type of grid that has a power setting. So this one ranges from a power of 1 to a power of 50. It does increment by 1s up to 5, and then by 5s from 10 to 50. And then the speed goes from 5 to 20 by 5s. So 5, 10, 15, 20. This is a pretty broad range. If I wanted to, I could probably say, okay, it's actually going to be maybe 3 power and 12 speed. So this just gives you a range to work from that you can figure out your settings fairly quickly. I will leave a link in the description below to the material settings file that I use. Now this is a truncated version that is just less work. And when you're doing vector cutting, I typically stay 220 speed. I don't normally go faster than that, just so that I get a nice clean geometry on the curves. So today I'm going to be making two stencils, one that I'm going to be using in a later video where I'm going to draw my logo on. So it's a much bigger logo design. And then a small one that's just going to be my full logo with the name and everything. That's just going to be for, say, envelopes or packaging, things like that. So with that in mind, let me show you the designs. Here's my first design. The first design, like I said, is a small one. You will see that if I zoom in, I do have to make breaks on the lettering where the geometry may end up with the center of a letter coming out. So just like if you were working with stencils, you'll see that letters have maybe a line for R's or P's or A's, letters like that. So I needed to make sure that I accounted for that. Now the larger one is just my main logo. I am going to cut these backwards just because the backside of the Mylar typically has a better finish in the end. So what I'm going to do is cut both of these out, and then I can use them for my different projects. For this project, I'm going to be using the thicker 10mm for the larger stencil and the thinner 7mm for the smaller stencil. So I've already got the design set up. I'm going to go ahead, send them over to the machine one at a time, and I'll show you what they end up looking like. Now that the stencil's made, here is the small one. And here is the larger one. So you will see that they are really flexible because it's just thin Mylar material. So what I'm going to do is show you how I actually use some of these. So this one's actually going to be for a later project, so I'm going to set this one aside. But let me show you what I do with one like this. So I usually use these bubble mailers to mail stuff out with. So what I'm going to do is tape this on. And all this is going to do is hold it flat. So just like this. Then I'm going to break out my spray paint. Of course, gotta be blue. And now we're going to customize the bubble mailer. So with Mylar, if you are spray painting, keep in mind that it is super thin and light and may lift up. And a good example of this is on the first round of spray painting with it. You will see that letters are not super legible. So spray painting with the Mylar stencil is a little bit trickier. You have to hold it down more, weigh it down more in certain areas. I do like the graffiti-esque type look when it comes to how I package signs. So when I'm packaging different items, I like the spray paint look. So I like the bleed over. I like the little bit of elements coming together and kind of blending. So this is a good example of a bubble mailer that I would send out. You can make out the logo. The text is there. You can read it. Some of the letters blend together more than others, but I like that look. Now, if you like it more refined, you can do what I did on the cardboard here and actually hold the stencil down in more places so that it doesn't pick up. You can also use a heavier stencil. So instead of Mylar, you can use, say, MDF or a thicker material that weighs more just to help hold it down. For the larger stencil, I'm going to be using it with pencils and markers, so it'll be easier to stand out and show you what it looks like. But there's just a few examples of how I use Mylar to make quick stencils. Now, you can use it for markers, you can use it for spray paint, you can use it for pencils, drawing, your kids, whatever you want to do. So instead of going to the store and buying a stencil, you can search free vectors online and make your own, and make whatever your kids want. It's a much cheaper way to do it, and it's a much more custom way to do it. So you can do it for your own branding as well. The main purpose of this was to show you how I use Mylar, where you can get the Mylar. I will leave a link in the description below to where I got it from. But hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you know when I come out with new videos. I want to thank you for following along, and I'll see you in the next video.